Good morning, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Hey guys, all right, we've got this unit, this Sony Betacam SP J-1 player repaired. This is for a friend of mine who has a business. His name is Brad. He does video production work. Brad, I want to let you know your deck is done if you happen to be watching. But anyways, I did a video about 2 videos back where I showed you the start and the damage to this machine. Of course, you know, all the gears underneath it had to be reset. Several of them were broke. And I had to replace the front panel, which I replaced with a, as you can tell, I replaced with a HD cam, which is an exact match to the panel that was on here. Cosmetically, but it's not an HD cam player. It's a brand new panel that will work on this deck. So I had to replace this front panel. The loading carriage was completely fucked up. So I had to change that out, and I had to change the front panel out. And also, this deck had a bad video head on it. So I had to change out the scanner. The scanner, one of the heads wasn't playing properly on it, and it wouldn't play video with the shit after I fixed all the gears on this thing. So we had to change out the scanner, the loading carriage, the front panel, and all the gears below, and then it started resetting everything on this unit. People might say, well, wouldn't that be kind of really expensive and kind of not really worth doing on a machine like this? No, that's not correct. These machines, like I said, they're pretty valuable. A lot of people want them. I mean, I've seen them go for $2,000 or more, and that's about what they're worth because it's a compact multiplayer. And so if you're going to fix one of these, it's kind of worth putting the money into it because these are very, very expensive units when they were new. So that's, you know, technically you're going to pay some money to fix it, but they're still pretty high valued. So people do need them, and people are wanting them. I get calls for these all the time. So if you're putting money into one of these, it's kind of worth it, especially if you're going to be using it. But anyways, this is a complete overhaul. It had to be redone completely. Front panel, loading carriage, video head scanner, and all the gears below. Now the gears below are a real tragedy because you got a lot of problems with the gears, especially, you know, if you break the gears or if they're out of alignments. You know, there's a lot of gears like this you guys saw in that previous video. All these have to be set, and there's setting points on these, and this is not easy to do if you don't know what you're doing. I've been doing this for years, so I know once the deck comes here, I know exactly how to do it because I've done so many of these. But if you're an electronic technician and you want to learn to do this type of stuff, or maybe, you know, you want to get into trying to do this, maybe you know there's an electronic technician in your area who had a video or VCR repair shop or something like that. You want to learn from people who've actually done this for years. This is not something you learn in a day. It takes years and years of experience to learn how to do this type of stuff. All right, this is broadcast equipment, just like VCRs and various different videotape decks. You got to know how to do it, and it takes a lot of years to do this, okay? Anyways, this thing is completely restored. We did do the back. We did all the gears below. I got the cards back in. I got the loading card back in. I got the systems card back in. So this is all done. So we got that done. All right. Got all this put together. I had to change out the front panel. The front panel is always the biggest problem with these decks. If they get cracked, or if the door gets cracked, or the sides get cracked, and people are trying to force tapes in, what's happening is because of the front panel, you're going to throw off your loading carriage when you load the tape, and it's going to jam, and these gears have to be reset. It's a little pain in the ass to fix these carriages, but I happen to have another one, so I was able to swap it out. But once you jam the loading carriage, it's going to set the tape in wrong, and then everything else is just going to go to kaplooey on the thing. Let's put it that way. You know, you're going to start jamming pins, gears, and everything else. So this is a complete overhaul. It took me 2 days to complete it. Gears, alignments, loading carriage, complete replacement front bezel, okay? And I just got done doing all the alignments. Also, I put a loading carriage in that has the loading motor that has the brass gear on it. These loading motors used to come with this plastic gear, and they would slip and slide, and that would also jam the loading carriages on these things. So I put it with a high-grade loading carriage with the better motor on it, and also a brand new bezel. This is my friend Brad. He has a video production house. He does video conversions and film and things, and I wouldn't really go through this much trouble for a customer if it wasn't somebody I personally knew, but he really needs this. And but I also do this type of work for regular customers. It's just, it's not cheap to do. But these decks are very expensive. They range in the $2,000 range or more. These are very sought out. People do really want them, and they are buying them at very high, outrageous prices on eBay. So, anyways, it did not have an electronic card problem. Here's the cards. Normally, you know, like I said, if you have a card problem, like this reads your loading of your tape when you load tapes. If this is bad, you kind of pretty well know right off the bat. This is your systems card. It's at the very bottom, and this was not bad at all either. So it's a little bit of work to take one of these completely apart and change the gears on the bottom. The bottom usually has to be first when you have this much damage. All the gears have to be redone when there's a lot of damage like this. And then I tackled the top with the new loading carriage, bezel, and all the alignments that set the alignment for play and eject and all that. This takes a lot of time, and you have to reset all the gears, and you got to know the positions of the gears. These decks, they used a lot of plastic, all right? I don't know if you guys can tell, there's a lot of plastic in these things. When they get screwed up, if you break a plastic gear or whatever, you have to have another gear to replace it, which I have a little box of little gears and parts for these units. But this thing had a bad swing arm that was completely stuck. It took a little while to get that out of place. I can repair it and set it back where it belongs. Swing arm was broke. This thing did have an audio problem, so I swapped out the audio card with another one in the back. So this is pretty much a brand new machine. It's a complete rebuild. Everything on this deck has been redone. Like I said, on these units, when you get broken front panel or whatever the deal is, you know, it's really a shame because whoever had this unit, they taped it. As you can see, I don't know if you can see this. See, they taped it where it's cracked. This is your loading, and you can't just remove. You can't just remove the door because it's embedded into the plastic mounting. I would have just changed the door out if I could have, but you can't. It's like molded in place, and you can't slide it in or out either way. It's really a hard situation. But anyways, I didn't even really care to do that. But this panel was completely destroyed. Also the crack. So when you're trying to load tapes, you're just going to jam the loading carriage all over again and wreck the machine anyway. So instead of that, we replaced him with a new front panel, so he doesn't have that issue of jamming the loading carriage anymore, because once you wreck the loading carriage, it fucks up everything else on the deck, and things start to squeal, break, you name it. And these decks, when they start getting damaged due to loading errors, it wrecks a lot of things. There's a lot of plastic in these decks. So anyways, guys, this is a video for Brad. Brad, your deck is done if you are watching. So let's just show you a few things. Here's a small tape. Let's see if it takes the small tape. Boom. Now that's how it's supposed to load. Yes, and we have video. Looking really good. So let's see if we get great. It's got a great timing on the timer on the front, so let's see if we can get some audio out of this thing. All right.
The tough spot, that's right. Somehow I got shortchanged on a towel. I think Sam took my towel. Hey, we're at the Beverly Hot Springs, the only natural hot springs in Los Angeles. The water here,
playing really good. We got good audio. Now this is a small shell.
For many countries, a lot of the ancient civilizations had used
good audio, good playback, good timer, good audio levels. All right. Let's see if we can eject it. All right, beautiful. Now that's what it's supposed to do. So now let's see how a large shell loads. Bingo. This tape has nothing on it. It's a blank tape, and it's playing. Beautiful. So we now have full shell, small shell playback, eject, very smooth, no catching, no dragging. Excellent. So we pop another one in back to the small shell. Beautiful.
And
All right. So this is a Betacam J-1 complete repair, rebuild, as you would call it. And basically, this has been completely overhauled and rebuilt. With everything on this deck was damaged, so it's now all fixed. Just want to let Brad know it's out there. It's ready for pickup. We're going to be closing this thing up, and if you happen to have this type of work, let me know. We do service these decks, so I hope you enjoy this video.